Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Show Me How It's Done. I'm your host, Lauren Urbonis with Lauren's Scraplot. You can find me on YouTube and Facebook. And if you're in Canada, you can also shop with me online at laurenurbonis.stampinup.net. So all of the products that I'm showing you today, you'll be able to find. And if you have any troubles, don't hesitate to ask. But what I want to show you guys today is an adorable shaker card. So you kind of lift up this front panel and you have this really fun snowfall look. So the idea for this card, I want to give a big thanks out to Ilda Diez as well as Bennett. So Ilda was the first person that we know of who was playing around with this frameless shaker card. And then Patty just recently did a video as well highlighting one of our new kits in the catalog. So I thought, hey, I need to get in on this action. I have lots of sequins and I've been playing like crazy with the Peaceful Cabin bundle lately because this weekend I have an all-day event on Saturday for some of my ladies to tune in. We're going to be making projects galore with this suite. So I thought it would be really fun to show you guys some of the beautiful features of the dies and the stamps, and also maybe give them a bonus idea on how they can use their products for more than what I'm showing them on Saturday. So I want to start by just highlighting the fact that this Peaceful Cabin bundle, as well as the coordinating dies, and I'm going to need this one, so I'll take him out. These guys are available in our holiday catalog, so you can get them up until January 3rd, I believe. And if you need the numbers for those, I have them along the left-hand side here. So this Peaceful Cabin bundle is this guy right here. We're also going to be using some of the designer series paper. So I have cut myself a piece, and I'll give you all the measurements in a second, but I've cut myself a piece of that. And of course, you could also dig into the rest of your package, and you know, maybe there's another color or piece that appeals to you. Oh, this one's nice. The trees are on the bottom there. So whatever you want to grab from this package is totally up to you. That is the Peaceful Place DSP right there. And also from the suite, we're going to use the Subtle Shimmer Sequins. Those are going to be what you see as the snow in our shaker card. Okay, so let me walk you through how to make this adorable card. Okay, I'm gonna just put him off to the side so you can sort of see it, but the cellophane bag does give you a glare, so I'm sorry. Okay, let's start by prepping a card base. So I have chosen to use a piece of Smoky Slate. So I've cut this at 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and we are putting a score mark in the middle at 5 1/2, so that when I fold my card in half, I've got one of our standard open and shut cards. Now, typically, we kind of open our cards like so. However, you're probably noticing that, hey, this card is opening up only with a clear flap. There's nothing about the gray that's opening. So that's going to be a really fun feature. But I want you to have this ready to go, and then I'll show you how to put it together. Another piece you're going to need to have prepped is that DSP in the background here. So this guy I have cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then you also, you notice, will need a little decor on the inside here. So I've chosen to use one of these Scalloped contour dies. So that is on page 158 in our annual catalog, number 155560. And there's just a really beautiful set of all different sorts of frames and stuff. So this is the second largest in the series, and I've just cut that out of white for myself. Now this one you won't really be able to see because, you know, it's clear, but this is a window sheet. Can you see the shininess on it? Okay, so this window sheet you want to cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I will show you where we're going to put that in a minute. If you don't own window sheets, maybe you have some old like projector sheets or even our stamps, they come with a photopolymer kind of a plastic sheet on top of the stamps. So you can always steal one of those if you don't need it anymore. So you do want one of these because that's going to give a little bit of structure to this folding piece here instead of the bag just kind of being loosey-goosey. So when I say bag, I am referring to our clear medium envelopes. So this would be found in our annual catalog, but it's kind of hidden. So it's on page 136. They're called clear medium envelopes, and they're listed with the white and the vanilla ones too. But here's the item number. You get 50 of them in a package. And so what you typically use these for, if you were, you know, actually buying them for yourself, is you'd probably use them to protect a card. So let's say I wanted to sell these at a card craft show or something like that. You'd actually be able to slip your card as well as an envelope into this sleeve, and then people could see what you're actually giving them, but they're not touching your card. I use these a lot when I swap cards with other demonstrators too. If I'm at an event, then, you know, they're not risking folding some of my fancy little pieces if something's caught in a bag. And also if I'm mailing them, it's kind of fun to just let them see as soon as it arrives what they're getting. So in Canada here, you can actually mail these for the same price as you would a regular card. You will have to keep in mind that if your card is super thick like this one, I'd probably need the $1.30 stamp because I've got gems and some dimensional thickness here. I would need that either way, whether I'm using the white envelope or this nice clear one. And then it's kind of nice because maybe, you know, your postal worker is able to just get a little smile as well by seeing what you're offering. So that's what you'd use them for typically. We are going to use it for a shaker card. So let me show you how we're going to build all of these pieces. Okay, so you can set things aside. We're going to keep our cello bag and our little envelope. We're putting the window sheet right inside of here right now. And as I mentioned, this is just so that I have a little bit of structure now in my envelope. Okay, and then you can grab some sequins. You can use any sort of sequins that you have or want. And then so I pushed my window sheet to the back of the envelope. In the front of it, I'm just going to put probably about a tablespoon's worth of sequins in the bottom here. Okay, now close these up because you really, really don't want those going everywhere. That would be no fun. Now we're going to turn this over. And do you see there's a little part here that has an adhesive on it? Don't touch that one. What we're going to do is grab a piece of tape and actually seal this opening closed because, and I got a good, probably not very nice, but I got a laugh when Patty shared that she's like, I didn't tape this the first time. And as soon as she opened her card up, all the sequins fell out. So we're learning from her mistakes here. And we're putting a piece of tape right across. And I've made my tape even longer than it needs to be, simply because I want to make sure that every single area is covered. And then I'm just going to trim my excess off. Also, I don't like the weird teeth marks from my tape. I know it's super, super weird, but I'm just going to trim that off myself. And then I've got a nice straight line. Okay, so here we go. This guy is all closed off now, which means we can go ahead and start attaching it to the card. Okay. So to remember this funny little guy that we're used to opening upwards, I'm going to flip him over so that your opening is here at the top. I know, it's kind of weird. We're going to take off this adhesive from the bag and flipping this around, I have now lined up the top of my window sheet to the top of my gray paper, okay? So you will have some of your bag hanging over the sides, and that's okay. That's because these envelopes are made to be larger than a card, and it's fine. It'll fit in an envelope, no problem still. Don't stress about it, okay? But as soon as your window sheet's lined up here, you can fold this part over and stick that adhesive piece to the back. So it attaches kind of right here. Now what you'll notice is there's kind of like a lot of open space if you flipped this up. So we do want to attach this as well so that those pieces are together. So just grab yourself some tape or some seal, any sort of adhesive, and just make it so that this flap is now completely attached to this card, okay? Now, you don't have to make it pretty, because what we're going to do next is we're going to actually put adhesive all over here and attach this back to it so that you cannot see where this little envelope guy came from. So I'm just going to show you with the white tear tape because it's very, very easy for you to see, as opposed to, you know, all the clear window sheets I've been showing you today. But just all the way around there, take off that adhesive. You can use anything you want. If you have glue, if you have seal, totally up to you. Just, there we go. There. Now, folding this over so that it's totally sealing our card off for us, we now have a card that folds over like so. Pretty, right? Okay, so give a little crease just in case your window sheet has moved a little. All right, let's get decorating. So this inside panel here, this is where some of the fun is going to begin. So our piece of designer series paper, I ended up using a different measurement than both the ladies before me did because I really wanted to see the border of paper behind me. I thought it really tied my card together. However, the cards that they used, they were much more, I guess, engaging in this middle piece here. And so I'm just kind of tying colors together, which is why I left it with a border. If you want to just have DSP, of course, it looks really pretty too. So you could cut this piece to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 if you want, but I really think that's pretty. So I'm gonna leave it with a little gray border around it. Now this always makes me sad. I hate seeing the backgrounds of the other side because I'm like, oh, I would like to use you too. But we can't today, okay? So you can use your scraps for something else. This guy we're putting on with some sort of flat adhesive. We're not really doing a lot of dimension because our sequins are going to be thick enough for our envelopes. So this is all going on flat right here. And a little tag. Before I attach it, I would like to do a little stamping on that guy. So we'll just move that over and let's do some stamping. So I grabbed the set of 3 trees from my Peaceful Cabin set. However, we're only going to ink up these 2. So instead of tapping my stamp onto the ink, we're actually going to flip it over, take your ink, and actually dab just over those 2 trees because you don't really want to ink this guy up. He'll end up kind of with a weird line on the side of your card, and you won't really want that, okay? So ink him up nicely. I've put this in the bottom corner. Just moved over slightly because my full strength trees are going right here, and right away I'm going to stamp right next to them as a stamped off look. So it looks like I have trees in the background and the forefront, but all I've done is I've stamped twice, once full strength and one partial strength, and that gives you that 2-dimensional look without having to do any masking or anything like that, okay? if you want a sentiment, we have some beautiful ones in the stamp set. So I chose the May you enjoy peace. May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season. And I'm going to ink this up with Evening Evergreen. And I forgot to mention the green here was shaded spruce. So if you have any sort of nice green, even old olive looks really nice with this set, but just give yourself a couple different looks. You can use a gray in place of the Evening Evergreen if you don't own that one as well. But I really do like the greenery look because it kind of brings a little bit of color to this otherwise very monotone, kind of monochromatic look. So a little bit of adhesive on the backs. Take that off now. And I'm putting this right in the center of my card. So just kind of find where you're happy. There we go, like so. So that's cute. We like it so far. It would be cute even if you decided to leave it as this. Now the sequins you can kind of work up and down here. So they can kind of rest wherever you want them to. That's where the window sheet comes in handy. But I like to just kind of move them around, even with like my bone folder or something. You can pull them a bit and just make like a snowy kind of background look. Okay, so to add this final piece, which is my cabin, because I kind of thought it tied it together. Let's move this out of the way. We need to make our cabin. You'll need a scrap piece of white paper, the cabin stamp from the Peaceful Cabin set, and Smoky Slate Ink. So this guy we're going to ink up. And stamp nice and strong onto our background. So that color will lighten a little bit as it dries. And so what they've given us is we don't have a die that cuts out the whole cabin. However, we do have a die that cuts out your rooftop. So this means less fussy cutting for you. My suggestion is get this all lined up, and then I actually put a little piece of tape right on one of the sides. You can use washi tape if you really want to make sure you're not pulling any of your image ink off. But just hold your die in place because you don't want it to move on you. So I grabbed my Baby Boss. I'm hoping this one will work for you to see on the screen. So I need my platform. Oh, I forgot my big platform, I think. Let's see here. That should work. There we go. Okay, so sandwiching those pieces in between the clear plates. We're gonna roll this guy through. And what you should have now is, sorry, there we go, is a little top of your cabin and some pieces that you just need to cut off now. Okay, so we've got a top of a cabin. If you're somebody who hates fussy cutting, then this is just fine. You can always take this piece and just add it to the front of your card. It'll look like you've got a little snowbank, and that is fine, okay? If you want the floating cabin look, like I've done here, because I kind of wanted to see more of those trees, you're just gonna gently cut beside the image. Don't go right up to it. Just on these few little lines on the bottom here. Okay. That gives you a floating cabin look. So this guy, I'm just going to put some tape on the back of, some double-sided tape. because I want him just to stick to my cello bag. And I should say hello to all of you who are watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't have the comments on the screen right away, and so by the time I see your hellos, sometimes I'm a little late saying hi. So thanks for joining me. Okay, this guy goes right down there at the bottom, and voila! Now you have two super cute cards. You can shake your sequins all over the place. And they do kind of stand up if you want to put them on a desk. I guess that's what the window sheet is there for. But they also fit in an envelope, so you can mail them. The only little thing is if you stand them up, gravity kind of does its thing and they mostly end up at the bottom. So I think this is maybe a nice card for you to just kind of get in place and tip upwards against something on like an easel, because then all your sequins won't fall right away. There you go. So yes, if you guys have any questions about putting this guide together or any of the measurements that I used, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will post all those measurements in the comments on the YouTube link. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys have a really, really fun time making this card. See you next week.